amazing individuals here went through a 12-week public speaking course. And tonight, you guys will see the amazing work they've been working on. So I'm excited for that. To start off, my name is Usman Ba, the education coordinator here at the African Leadership Group. And I'm just excited to be here. This is my 11th cohort. So I've been through a journey from 4, I was part of Cohort 4 now, and I've just been working, since Cohort 4, I have never left. So I've been part of this journey for the past few years now, and I'm just excited. Each year, it seems to get amazing, and this is the first time we're doing it in person for the past 2 years. So round of applause for everybody being here tonight. And again, thank you all for joining us on this Tuesday evening. It's been an amazing journey with the rest of the graduates this evening. We meet here every day for the past 12 weeks for class, and today we get to celebrate them. And I'm joined here with the amazing Tanisha Harris. She's been an amazing co-facilitator. Awesome.
I'm Tanisha Harris, and I was a part of Cohort 9, and this journey has been absolutely amazing. Doors have been open, opportunities. I would say my life has changed, and I'm grateful to be here to celebrate these students. I went through this, and you guys get ready to be moved, to be changed, just everything. So let's get started.
Before we get started, I'm going to have you guys, the younger generation, I don't know about your older folks, that you have social media. Make sure you follow us at USLG. We have an Instagram at USLG. We also have a Facebook, African Leadership Group, as well as Twitter. So go ahead and follow us, and make sure you're tweeting, make sure you're sharing this on Facebook. So we make sure we share all the stories that are being told tonight, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. All right, as we move forward, this all would not be possible without one man's dream and vision. And I would like to welcome the man, the ED, the founder of the African Leadership Group, the man of the hour, Papa Dia. Hey!
I'm not the man of the hour for sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. If you have taken public speaking class, or you are currently taking Leadership Africa, could you please stand up, please? Anybody that graduated from the public speaking class and taking, please give them a round of applause, because they really, really laid the path for all the students that are taking the class. So thank you so much for being here. I will be very, very brief this evening for the simple reason that I just have a very, very specific ask. We are at a point in our community, and when I say in our community, I'm not just talking about the African immigrant community. I'm talking about the Colorado community at large. The last couple of years has been extremely challenging, and we know that we have something we call inflation around the corner, and it's been very tough for every single one of us. And we have to think about how can we, as a community, come out of these challenges together. Because if you are alone in your corner, you are in an island by yourself. And as a community, I strongly believe if we come together, there's a lot of things that we can address. And it can start here at the African Leadership Group. It can start here tonight with these amazing people that are graduating. So my ask of you is, if you know anybody out there that need help, either finding a job, either buying a house, either talking to a lawyer, whatever the case might be, just know here at the African Leadership Group, our main goal is to find the resources to connect the community members with what they need. Now, this is something that one single person can't do by himself. If you are sitting where you are sitting right now and you know of those resources, please, please reach out to us and come be part of this amazing family, so together we can uplift our community. But tonight we're going to be hearing from amazing people, and amazing people are taught by an amazing professor. Now, as you can see, this professor turn around and corrupt people and buy them money. That's why they're clapping for him. So that's just who he is and how he does about this business. But we're talking about cohort 11, meaning we have over 300 people that already graduated from this public speaking class. When we started this program, and for you just to know, this program is designed to help African immigrant and African in the diaspora build their content, character, and confidence. Because quite often, as African immigrant, we speak English with an accent. I remember vividly when I was at the bank as a teller, talking to people, and they would ask me, go get me somebody that speaks English, because they couldn't just understand me. And what it does is my self-esteem goes low. I will hide any place I go. I will sit way back because I would not dare, nor I want to speak. When we understood those challenges, we put together this program where you come and you speak in front of people. And it has built a generation of leaders. Now, the man that's been facilitating this class, I mean, I've said a lot about him, but as you can see, anybody that take the class become just a fan of him, become part of his family, because that's how he is. Generously, he give, he care. He's a teacher in the class, he's a teacher in the community, and when you get him here, he will always teach. We get him to interview. In a process, he's teaching the interviewer. That's just who he is. That's how much he loves about teaching. But we are very blessed to have Professor Majama in the community. Please give him a round of applause to welcome him. So, Professor, the floor is yours. Yes. Now, you just have to be nice to me.
I'll think about it for a minute. Thank you so very much, everybody, for being here. We are delighted to have you around. As I would always say, time is the most precious thing that you guys can have. So whatever you give us, we will take it. You could have been anywhere tonight, but you are here with us. It means a lot. So give yourself a big round of applause for that. Public speaking used to be a luxury. Used to be like only people who are high class would even dare to stand up in front of their peers and say something. Now, let me tell you that's no longer the case, because right now, for you to be anybody, for you to do anything in life, you have to be able to talk to other human beings like you. But still, there is a study that shows that a lot of people, when they go to a funeral, they would rather be in the casket than speak the eulogy. So that's how people are afraid of it. When we became aware of that, we said, well, we can just sit by and watch, nothing would happen, or we can do something about it. Because there are always three types of people in life. Those who wonder what happened, those who watch things happen, and those who make things happen. At ALG, we are part of the latter. Everything, I think they already talked about Papa, so I don't need to come back to it. But were it not for his vision, this would have never been reality for all of us. Because coming to a foreign land is just scary by itself. Now, going through the barriers of language can always put you aside if you are not strong enough. Papa will always say, if you are smart in Africa, you can still be smart here. But most of the time, it is not what we believe because of the language barrier. Now, I would always say in class that what's important is not that you speak with an accent, but just make sense when you speak. So in this class, we will make sure that people, when they're ready to go out, they have something to say. Because most of the time, it is just not having a content, not knowing what you talk about, will make you afraid of talking. Ask anybody what is their favorite food, and they can talk hours. Ask them to tell you about their childhood, they can talk about hours. But if you ask them anything else, they're reluctant to speak. So it just means that if they have content, they can do this. So the public speaking, we are always saying that it is free of charge. That is about to change. Before, I was always saying, well, it's not free because you are investing your time and we are asking you to pay it forward. Now, how do you pay it forward? It is by inviting other people that you know have the need to learn this, and you bring them on board. Because one fable that I read about is that when you are out in life, there are two very good-looking female chasing you if you're a male. If you're a female, the opposite side. One is knowledge, and the other one is wealth. If you chase knowledge, wealth will be jealous and will chase you. But if you just chase wealth, it will run away, and you don't have knowledge because knowledge also will run away. So that's why we do believe that teaching, not only our younger generation, but also anybody who's willing to learn, because in the class what we always say is that we are all students and we are all teachers. Because guess what? Whoever you meet is your teacher in some way. That brought me to somebody who actually took the class in Cohort 5. When I first met her, she came up, I asked her to speak, and she said, I don't think I can do this because people will always say that I am complicated. I am this, I'm that. I said, don't worry about it. It's just because they are not at your level. But one thing is you have a choice. It's either to bring yourself down to their level or to lift them up to your level. No, to get yourself down to their level or to lift them up to theirs. When she was done taking the class, I think she's one of the most powerful voices that I know in the community. She's the young lady, a mother of two, and a United Airlines veteran, 10 years now, or 15, and doing a lot of good stuff in the community, that when we asked her to come and be the keynote speaker, she said, of course, I'll do it. But that's what we do. We train armies of soldiers that whenever we need them to serve, they don't even think twice about it. Because serving is in our DNA right now. So help me welcome Velva Askew.
Oh gosh, pajama. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
When they asked me to come and speak, I was shocked and surprised because I'm like, why me? Why me? But I already know why Majama would say me. But I'm grateful and humbled for this opportunity to stand before you guys. I too was here 5 years ago. And when I took this class, Majama was like, well, why would you take this class? You don't seem like you have a problem speaking. Right? And I think I was the only African American in the class, but then there was a lady that was Caucasian, there was a Hispanic gentleman, and everybody else, and 2 Jamaicans, but everybody else was from Africa, right? So I was like, I don't know, why am I taking this class? And so I knew my reason, I just had to fake a reason. So Majama sees through my fakeness, and he was like, no, what is your real reason? And so my real reason was to connect with the African culture. It wasn't to, solidify my speaking ability. It was just to connect to the culture that I'm connected to, but is unaware. And so that was the journey with me. And so the thing is, for the 12 weeks, I thought I was just connecting with amazing people, gifted and talented people. But at the end of the journey, what Majama said to me at the beginning was, it's in you. And I didn't understand what he was saying. He said, you have the ability to speak. It's in you. And I'm like, no, Majama doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever. He says, no, all you have to do is open your mouth and apply yourself and speak. But I didn't understand it until after the 12 weeks. After I was forced to read books, and I wasn't an avid reader. And because I wasn't an avid reader, he told me, just download the Audible app, right? You don't have to read it, just listen to it. And I said, oh, God, Majama, I'm working, I have kids. And he said, keep making excuses. Keep making excuses. And so after I downloaded the Audible, I realized that Audible was not for me because the voices that were speaking were boring, did not make me interested, and I wasn't retaining any of the information. So then I ended up buying the books anyway and started to read. But what I've learned out of the 12 weeks of the public speaking class was what he saw in me was something I didn't see in myself. And I didn't realize it until I had to stand up, like you guys are getting ready to do, and give my speech. And at the time, we had partners. Our class was just that big that we had partners. And just so happens my partner flaked out on me 2 days before we were supposed to perform. And so I'm trying to be gracious with my facial expressions and what I could say to him. But I said, you know what? You're right. You're not ready for this. I got this. So I called Majama and I said, my partner flaked on me. The person you gave me flaked on me. And he was like, I think he kind of knew that, but he was like, Ms. V, you knew that this person was like this. Anyway, so he's like, but you got it. You don't need him. So the day that we were set to perform, I was so nervous, you guys. We were at the Botanical Gardens on a platform full of people that I did not even know. And Papa was introducing these big people in the community, and I'm like, shoot, I gotta do this by myself. I don't know if I could do this. But there was a gentleman in the audience, and he came up to me and he spoke to me. But what he spoke to me was, you can do it. He says, it's in you. He said the exact same words that Majama said to me, it's in you. A random stranger didn't know me, and he said, it's in you. Just open your mouth and speak. So I was like, oh, okay, this got to be God, because this is the second time I've heard it. So I got up, did the speech, performed, did what I had to do, sat down, and all of a sudden I felt confidence. I felt confidence of what Majama said was in me. I didn't know it was in me, but after performing, it was solidified. That's what I was missing. That's what I found after 12 weeks of the public speaking class. So I'm gonna go in with this. There's a quote by a gentleman named Jonathan Lockwood Huey that says, celebrate endings, for they precede new beginnings. We're here to celebrate an ending to 12 weeks of learning, studying, fellowshipping, and growing. And when you end the beginning, or when you end the celebration, understand that it's a new beginning. For me, after those 12 weeks, it was a new beginning, because after that, I had the confidence to speak anywhere. Like Majama said, I do have a platform where I speak. I speak in my church, I speak on social media, I speak at my job. I am a motivational speaker. So I didn't know those 12 weeks would impact me for this day. So each and every one of you that is sitting up here today think that, oh, the 12 weeks was just fellowship with people, reading books and being encouraged. No, it's more than that. It's what you've learned here, you take out to the world, and you become something greater than what you are now. So I'm here to encourage each and every one of you that is sitting here as you get ready to speak and say what you have to say. Say it with encouragement, say it with strength, say it with power, and stand in those words that you believe. And then from this day forward, you take it and you sow it into someone else. What I've learned from Papa Majama is pay it forward. So every day I try to pay it forward with the words, with my actions, with my abilities to bless others. And I challenge each and every one of you to do the same. But before I close, I want to really reiterate the mindset. I didn't understand my mindset was crippling me and my ability to speak. Until again, Majama had to tell me, Velver, change the way you think, right? And it started with reading these books. These books I thought was boring, didn't have value to me. But when I took the time to really sit and think and be mindful in my reading, I grew. And so I pulled up the definition of mindset. But this mindset is just like a quote. Somebody decided to put together what mindset looks like to them. And it reads as, the driving force in a quest for success and achievement, a mindset that combines discipline, strength, confidence, and ambition, is a powerful mindset. This can achieve anything it sets its sights on. A powerful mind can achieve anything. So all you have to do is change the way you see yourself, change the way you see others, change the way you see your environment. and you can achieve anything. You guys have an amazing night, and I can't wait to hear what's coming.
Velvet, thank you so much. That was powerful. When we change our mindset, we can do anything. We can. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. Yes, you guys have heard that over and over throughout this 12 weeks. Mindset is important because when you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you're right as well. So do the thing and you shall have the power. I'm gonna bring up our first presentation, our first speaker. It's Epi Isiaku, and she is speaking on how to show up when opportunity knocks.
Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing today? Good. I'm sorry for this voice, but this is what you have, okay? So how do you show up when opportunity knocks? I'm going to start with a story. So I have a friend, and we were sharing an apartment together. She came home one day from work, and she was lamenting. She was complaining. Efe, can you imagine? They promoted my colleague. You know, I have been in that company for so long, but she just came, and she took that position. She was venting, I allowed her vent, you know? So when she finished talking, I asked her, who was aware that you were interested in that position? And she kept quiet. So I'm asking you guys today, how many of you in this room is one of my friends? How many of you? So, you know, you see, the way life is, opportunities come in different ways. You don't know when it shows up. You don't know when she comes walking in her heels, or you don't know when he comes sneaking around you. So, but how do you show up when this opportunity comes up? I'm going to talk about 3 ways you can show up. You can be prepared. So when you leave here today, you know you are ready. All right? So the first one is being proactive. You need to be proactive, then you need to be ready. And you need to be open. But what do I mean by being proactive? When you are proactive, people know. I asked my friend, who knew you were interested in this position? Nobody knew about that. Nobody knew her interest. Her manager didn't know she even had the skill. Are you the kind of person who comes to work and you do all that is set for you to do? You perform your job description and you pack your bag and you go home? Are you such a person? If you are such a person, nobody knows that you can do beyond that because you limit yourself. So what am I trying to tell you today? If you are interested in a position, you have to show it. You have to prove to people that you are not just here, but you can go beyond. I'm not saying do not dream, but how do you get there? If nobody knows you have this dream, when opportunity shows up, it will just walk by you. Nobody will know. So you need to be proactive in all that you do. Is it your business? Is it school? Or you just go, you do your assignment and you are done. You don't even ask the teacher, what is next? Can I have the curriculum? Back home in Africa, they give us the curriculum for the semester. And we happen to have classmates like mine who will, there are 3 topics ahead of what you are doing today. When they come to class, you know. Because when the teacher is solving a problem, you're already done. Are you such a person? That is the kind of person that I want you all to be. So you need to be proactive. Apart from being proactive, are you ready? Are you prepared? How prepared are you? You were dreaming, yes, I want to buy a house. You were dreaming, yes, I want to go to college. But how prepared are you to do all this? Have you done your research? I will give myself as an example. I came into America 4 years ago, pregnant, by myself. And this is somebody who has master's degree in mechanical engineering. I also have master's degree in project management. But when I got here, I didn't have the information that I needed. Yes, that was my fault. And I settled for less. I started doing caregiving. I don't blame anyone, I'm not against it, but that's not my calling. And I knew, but that was what I had. That was the limit I set for myself. But I got to a stage and I told myself, no, if you were done. I wasn't going to do this anymore. I am not cut out for this. And you know, I had to make my due diligence. I had to do the research. I went out there, connected with people. I had to stay up nights shadowing people. How do you do this job? Is that what you do? Are you ready? Are you preparing yourself? You need to be prepared because opportunity will come and it will walk by you. How do you show up when this opportunity comes? You're looking for it, but are you ready for this opportunity? See, I am standing here today. I got the job that I wanted, and I am enjoying that job today. I was prepared. When the opportunity came, I took it. Are you prepared? I'm asking you today. Are you prepared? Are you ready? Apart from being prepared, you need to be open. How open are you? See, several people have spoken about mindset. What is your mindset? Your mindset will limit you. If you don't have an open mindset, I'm sorry, you will be limited. Opportunities will just walk by. How open are you? Who is your network? They say your network is what? Your network. So, who is in your network? For me to get the job that I got today, I had to network with people. People of like mind. Because I needed questions to be answered. Questions that I didn't have answer to. So I needed to go with people who were in that position. Is it business? You think, oh, I want to start this business, but are you networking with people in such business? People who have done better in that business? You need to network. You need to be open. You know, you cannot just stay where you are and think you need to be at Z. No, it doesn't happen by magic. So how open are you? How open are you? When the opportunity comes, how will you show up people? So today, I want you to leave this place. First, you need to be proactive. You need to be ready. You need to be prepared. And you need to be open. Because when the opportunity comes, you will see her. You will be alert. You will know it is there. And you will grab it.
Wow, wow, wow. How do you show up when the opportunity knocks? I don't know. I got a notebook already. I don't see no notebooks out because they're going to be jams passed tonight. So make sure you're taking notes. And shout out to Effie. All these balloons and decorations you see tonight, she helped create that light. Yeah. So thank you, Effie. You guys, I told you, tighten your seatbelt. It's going to be a roller coaster ride this evening. So get ready. As we move forward, our next presenter is Tanya Carter. And her topic is Evaluating Freedom After Survival.
Wow. Thank you guys for coming tonight. I'm feeling that, thank you for coming in our house, okay? So when I was asked to come to public speaking, I had my own reasons because what I would like to do is speak to Congress about changing laws. When, I got you, Professor. He gotta let me do my thing and let me warm up. So that was my reason for doing my public speaking, okay? But when the person said that you're going to learn how to do public speaking, I really had no idea what he meant. I just know what I wanted to do, right? So I had no really preconceived notions, but when I came in the door, Papa said, here you are, Tanya, you come to make trouble? Like, no, I'm the problem solver. So I was feeling nervous. I was like, man, I'm about to leave. So I was like, okay. As soon as everybody kind of turned their back, I'm just slide out the door. Okay. So, matter of fact, I have to say this. I hit the person who told me about it. I hit him my email and said, man, you told me to come and, and no disrespect. I was like, man, it's a bunch of African people here. What am I supposed to do? Put my phone back in my pocket. I was like, okay, all right. So one of my ex-coworkers came in the door. And that's when I knew I was supposed to be here, okay? So I'm going to learn how to speak incarcerated. Let's just say prison. Let's just say what it is, okay? And I want to speak for my ladies who don't have a voice. Some of my sisters that I met in my journey, they'll never be out, and they want to live through me. So to give a little brief story about me, is I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, raised in projects. And you know, I didn't realize this until I got older. The one thing that I had in common, that all of us had, we used to play out the street, the crickets and everything, right? Nobody had a father. None of us. That's the one thing that we had in common. So I didn't even really realize how much trauma that I was going through, because everybody was the same. Didn't nobody have a father? It was just the normal. How we made ourselves important is it was about how much money can you get. Okay, we didn't have education. I'm not saying that we was just that we didn't finish school, but for me personally, I just wanted it fast. I was like, I'm not getting ready to work no whole. I'm not getting ready to work no whole 20 years to drive a Cadillac. I'm gonna drive it next year. Boy. So I'll say my life would become a merry-go-round in those 30 years. And when it says that elevating freedom after survival, that's almost an understatement for my life. And so from going, and when I say that, I mean the merry-go-round went for like 30 years, okay? In and out. So then, I don't know, and one day it just hit me like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm tired. The things that I want, I could work for that. I don't have to give my freedom up for that. So when you're in your cell and you're laying real quiet, you don't have nobody to talk to but God. When you can hear yourself like missing your family, like, man, why my freedom? Why you gonna give up your freedom, Tanya? I was like, man, this is a business. Somebody gotta keep the lights on. Somebody gotta lay down in the bunks, right? But it don't gotta be me. So if I can get myself together, then I could pave the way for my other sisters and brothers. But mainly, I would say my sisters, because we the ones that are so underserved. And we the backbone. We the one that has children. When we get free, we actually don't know what to do. What we gonna do when we get free? So if you tell me that because I have a criminal record, and I'm black, got 2 strikes against me, how am I gonna take care of my family? $15 an hour job, single family home. How am I gonna take care of my family? So if I could change some laws, this is where I'm at with it. If I could help change some laws, then we won't have to just go for them $15 an hour jobs. I want to be able to, for our sisters, that we have the knowledge and the experience that we can outdo that job for that person that went and got that degree if you just give us a shot. So if you don't give a shot, I won't make a shot. So I would work for this place called Second Chance Center. It's a re-entry place. Thank you. It's a re-entry place for those who have been formerly incarcerated. And so the man who founded the place, he said, well, Tanya, I got something for you. You know, and I didn't really understand what he meant by that when he said, I got something for you. So what he had for me was a platform. I really didn't know what to do with it, but I was like, man, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna make some things change for those who come after me, okay? So I also started this women's group called Hope, Determined Purpose, so we could start to have purpose. So me to understand my purpose, and for me to understand my calling. I once was listening to in the radio, and it said, if you could find out what your purpose is in life, then you'll know what you're passionate about. I was like, well, what is it? I'm trying to figure out, like, something just gotta give, something gotta get better, right? So going back to when he called me and said, come in and I got something for you, that morning when I was supposed to go to work, I had this calming come over me. I was like, huh. I'm actually going to do a job where my past qualified me for. Yeah. So now I don't have to hide behind the box like, have you ever been convicted of a criminal offense? Because in order to get the job, I had to be convicted of a criminal offense, right? But what am I going to do when I'm in that position and with this platform? I'm going to try to change some laws. I'm going to make a difference. But what I'm not going to do is I'm never going to give up my freedom. So people say, Tanya, you changed a lot. And I say that a lot has changed me. Thank you.
Thank you for being the change you want to see and that we want to see. Thank you for being a voice for the voiceless. We need you. And the fact that you were evaluating freedom after survival. You found your passion and you found your purpose. And we need more women like you to stand up and show up. So thank you. Next, we're going to have a video by Kenneth Allen, Practice of Living Purposely.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenneth Allen, and first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today and giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you today. And I also want to thank my classmates, because it's been a long 12 weeks, has it? I can't remember how long it's been, but it's been a long, good time with you guys, and I've watched everyone here grow. And you all have inspired me to be a better person, to be a better man, to be a better speaker. And I just want to acknowledge that and acknowledge you for being here, for making it here. Everybody that's made it here today are extraordinary people, right? Because we have people that came on with us, but they're not here now. But these few people that stayed on, you guys are ready to get blown away. So I don't know how many people have spoke before me, but I'm sure that they were very powerful. And the people that are speaking after me will definitely be powerful as well. So I want to thank you guys, and I want you to know that you guys inspired me, and I hope I inspired you to change your life and to do better in your own ways. Okay, so let me get into my speech. So today we're going to talk about my favorite thing, my favorite subject and topic that I love to talk about, and that's purpose, and more specifically the practice of living purposefully, right? So I'm going to start by defining what I mean by living purposefully. So when I looked it up in a dictionary, it was defined as living in a way that shows determination or resolve. So I'm going to share with you 5 things, 5 ideas, 5 concepts that helped change my life and help me live a more passionate, more fulfilling, more joyous and grateful life. All right, so all of these 5 things embody the definitions that I just gave you guys. So those are recognizing the things that you care about, trusting yourself. We're going to talk about developing the positive emotions, and we're going to talk about empowering others. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is something that I like to call story time. So let's get into it. So everyone on this planet, at some point in their life, has or will ask this question of, what's my purpose? Why am I here? Right? So when it's hard to find our purpose. And this speech isn't designed to help you find your purpose, but it is designed to help you live more purposely. Right? So we're going to start off with the first concept, which is recognizing the things that you care about. See, living a life of purpose is basically using your gifts, your talents, everything that you are as a person, and using them for the greater good. See, when I started to recognize the things that I cared about, I started to understand what my gifts were. And then when I understand that I wanted to speak, I wanted to help people and educate people, that was me recognizing what I cared about. I cared about helping people. And so when I figured out what I cared about, it gave me more purpose because I started to do the thing that I cared about, which is help people, right? And the second concept that we're going to talk about is trusting yourself, right? Trust yourself and don't care what anybody else thinks, right? See, we all have a habit of living our lives by other people's rules, and rules that don't matter or have any say for us, per se. You see, life, you can't live life. There's no wrong or right way to live it. The best way that you can live your life is the best way that you see fit. And when you trust yourself, and you trust your ability to make decisions that are good for you, that's what's going to open everything up to living a more purposeful life. Because once I started to trust myself and I started to ask myself, what do I need to know? What is going to help me get through this? Instead of being the first person to, when something happened to me, to go outside, to go ask a friend or ask a family member about my life, I would ask them to help solve my problems for my life. So when I started to understand that trusting myself and giving myself the opportunity to make the decisions that are best for me, my life started to open up a whole lot more because I wasn't dependent on other people's help for anything. And when those people gave me bad advice, I was mad at them for giving me advice for something that I should have been able to take care of myself. So trust yourself, family. You know exactly what is best for you, and you're going to follow that. So the third topic is developing positive emotions, right? Gratitude. See, part of living a purposeful life is being grateful for your blessings. And when you sit back and you reflect on your blessings every day, and you get to see the things that you've been through, and you get to see everything that you are now. So all of my classmates know, I told them this before, is that as soon as my feet hit the ground, when I get out of bed, I give thanks every single morning. So this starts your day off with gratitude. And when you start your day off with gratitude, you're not thinking about all the stuff that you don't have. You're not thinking about the things that you want or anything like that. You're thinking about everything that you're grateful for. You're saying thank you. And you're acknowledging all the stuff that you have, no matter what it is, but you're grateful for that. And so ever since I started giving gratitude to myself and giving gratitude to my life, it gave me more purpose because when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful to be here. And when you're grateful to be here, you're going to go out and produce and act like you're grateful to be here. So that's another thing that helped me become more purposeful in my life. And the next one, the fourth concept, is empowering others. See, when I started to grow and I started to understand myself and I started to understand life more, I started to see that, hey, this is something good. Like, I want everybody around me to feel like this. So when you live a life with purpose, you encourage other people to do the same. So when I started to change my life, when I started to post things on social media, I had people call me up telling me that I inspired them because of the stuff that I just naturally was doing to help myself. And so I want you all to think about this. If all the good people on earth made it their purpose or made it their duty to help the people around them become better, how good would life be? Because if I'm getting better and I'm helping somebody else get better, naturally, they're going to want other people to do the same thing. And then the cycle just goes around of good people helping good people. All right, and lastly, this is my favorite concept, is what I call story time. See, story time is what we tell ourselves. When we wake up in the morning, the story that we tell ourselves every single day, right? So if the story that we tell ourselves determines the actions that we do, and then the actions that we do determines our results. So if you tell yourself the story that you're never going to be able to accomplish things, that you're not capable of doing things, you won't attempt things, right? So if you tell yourself that you're capable of great things, then you will attempt great things. So I changed my whole story around everything that I do in my life. So my day job is I work for AT&T as a premise technician, which is a fancy way of saying cable man, if I'm being honest, right? So I don't see myself as a cable man. When I wake up every morning, I don't tell myself that I'm going to install cable. I'm not going to install internet. No, I tell myself a story that gives me purpose. I tell myself that whenever I wake up in the morning, that I'm going to help a small business become greater. I'm going to help a mother that could connect to her friends and family that are across the globe that wouldn't be able to do that without our internet. You see, I see myself as a person, as a hero. So when I pull up to people's houses, they come outside and they look at me like I'm a firefighter. And that's the story that I tell myself. So every day when I wake up in the morning, I feel like I'm contributing to life. And I'm not just installing cable, I'm helping people live a happier life, right? And that's just because of the story that I tell myself. So in conclusion, just recognize the things that you care about. You know, take the time to see all the things that you care about and devote yourself to doing those things. And trust yourself. Don't care what other people think. Believe that you know what's best for you and ask yourself first for advice. And develop positive emotions. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I can't not stress how much gratitude has changed my life, right? And empower others. You know, I always say each one teach one. The more you learn, the more you're able to help other people learn, and the more they're able to help other people learn. And if you do that in your community, imagine how good your community can be. And remember, story time. The story that we tell ourselves is going to be the main reason why we act or why we don't act. So tell yourself a good story. And lastly, please practice, practice, practice living more purposefully. Thank you.
So, thank you, Ken. And as we move forward, next we have Justina Simbo with the topic, forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. Justina, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Good evening. Are you excited to be here today? Yes. Yes, good. Thank you all for making it here today to celebrate us. Like Majama said, you could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be here today. And I want to say I appreciate you guys for coming and taking your time off your busy schedule just to be here. Well, today my topic is forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness. I want you to think about that word. Take a minute and think about that word. What does that word mean to you? What are the things that you're holding on to, that you're refusing to let go of? Who are the people that have hurt you so much that you're holding so much grudge into you and refusing to forgive? Well, now I want to tell you my story. My journey through forgiveness. Forgiveness to me means release. I learned to forgive by releasing the people that have hurt me. I was talking to a friend recently, and I was telling this person that I have been holding on to grudge for a long time, for years. And so I believe all of us here, we're not saints. We have hurt somebody. We have asked for forgiveness. We have held on to those things, but we don't want to forgive.
And to me, it was a difficult thing for me to do because 11 years, I can tell you, I have struggled to forgive the people that have hurt me, let alone forgive myself, because I let those people into my life and they hurt me so bad. And these were people that I loved so much, people that I trusted, people that I opened my heart to. I'll pour out my problems or story to. But I made a decision one day, and this was the decision that I made. It was this year. I told myself that I'm going to choose to forgive before my birthday, before I turned a new age this year, March 22nd. I went into my room, I told myself that I was going to pray and fast for 1 week and ask God to help me to forgive myself as well as those that have hurt me. It was not an easy decision. I would lock myself into the room, crying, asking for God to forgive me first. And with that, I was able to let go of those that have hurt me. And I want to tell you guys that I am a living testimony of the importance of forgiveness. When I made that decision to let go of those people, to let go of the hurt, I found peace within me. I found love. I saw light. I was able to free myself from these people. I was able to do things. And today, I want to say that there have been many opportunities that have opened up to me. And when you choose to forgive, you'll be able to receive God's blessings. You're not forgiving that person because of the things but you're choosing to forgive because you want to set yourself free. You want to be able to leave. You want to be able to go somewhere and be able to smile and laugh and not hold on to hurt. Honestly, there were days that I would look at my own kids and yell at them because of the pain that I was feeling inside myself. Because I had 2 boys, went through the pregnancy by myself. But I was grateful to have my parents and family members here who helped me through those journeys. And hearing a man who had impregnated you telling you that these kids were not mine, it was the most hurtful thing that I have experienced in my life. I never chose to go through this. But the day, that 1 week that I went through my prayer and fasting and asked God to help me to forgive that man, to let him go and free myself and be able to love my own kids. God did not put them into my life as a mistake. They were chosen to be in my life. They were brought into my life for a purpose. And I want to say to you today, no matter who has hurt you, today, make that decision. Go home. It's hard. I will not tell you that it's not hard. It's hard. It might be your mom who has abandoned you, a person that has abused you when you were young, growing up, words that has been spoken to you. And sometimes I sit down and think about those words when I've been, told words, I'm not this, I'm not that. And I was telling my friend that every time I go out and I hear those words, I bring back memories of them, those words being used on me. But on March 22nd, on my birthday, I went to Mexico with my friends, and they were asking me, Justina, what is the best thing, that has happened to you in this new age? And I told them that forgiving those that have hurt me, the freedom, the peace, the love that I have felt within me after 11 years were the best feeling for me. And so, no matter what or whoever have hurt you, go home today. Think about those of what I have gone through, my story. My story might not be as worse as yours. We all have stories. We all have people that have hurt us. But just go. Find time. It's a process. It's not going to come easy. But make that decision. Take that step. Little step. And one day you will get there. Don't forget that God, who brought us here into this, He gave us forgiveness for free. He's not charging us for that. And we are not supposed to hold that against anybody. We are not supposed to say, because this person has done this, I'm going to take my time to do this. Yes, you take time, but just sit down and think about it and release yourself. Free yourself. Find peace, hope, and love again within you. And so I hope and pray that when you leave here today, you will find that place in your heart and make that decision to choose and forgive those that have hurt you. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, wow. Forgiveness is a choice, and it is a choice. When we forgive ourselves for what we've allowed, we forgive ourselves what we've carried, and we forgive those who have hurt us, because hurt people, and we allow that release. It frees us out of that prison we've been holding ourselves in, and it lets them go. It releases them back. And it's love. We want forgiveness too, so we have to forgive others because God has forgiven us. That is very powerful, Tina. Thank you for sharing that. Next, we have Cheryl Rhea with Worthiness Comes From Within.
Give thanks. Strong and womanly, beloved goddess of the earth. Those words, that declaration, are words that describe the meanings of my three names: Cheryl, strong and womanly, and beloved; Louise, renowned warrior; Rhea, goddess of the earth. I guess I chose a really good name. I aspire to embody those words. I aspire to embody those words and to self-actualize. But that lofty aspiration begs the question, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Are we all good enough? When do I get to show up? When do I get to participate? When do I get to live a bigger life? Worthiness can be described as the state of being deserving, of suitability, of of being deserving and being good enough. So I've wondered if we are all, if it's characteristic of all of us, if it's an intrinsic characteristic of all of us. Is it something that we are born to, or is it just a stroke of luck to be worthy? So I went on a little research, and I was reminded of the scripture written by David, who were. And with that, when I think of fearfully and wonderfully, how can those coexist? Well, actually, the translation, the Hebrew translation of fearful is heartfelt. I hope I get this one right. Great reverence and heartfelt interest, and respect. To be wonderfully made is to be unique and set apart. So, am I those things? Still have more questions. After looking to the scriptures, I've also looked to the outside world. And there's a woman by the name of Brene Brown who talks about, I think she's a psychoanalyst. She talks about how sometimes when life goes a little bit different for you in childhood, things go awry. Could be toxic parenting, it could be trauma, it could be just about anything. But we often develop a sense of guilt or shame. And out of that can come perfectionism, which hides the shame. Also, we can develop habits like drug addiction, alcoholism, a propensity toward violence, or even suicidal thoughts and behaviors. And she talks about how if you want to remedy that, some things you can do is to try and be a more mindful person. Use meditation, use self-compassion and kindness to try and help yourself on your healing journey. This is important to me partly because of the work I used to do, was that I worked in early childhood education. Out of that, I worked in school systems, and I also worked privately. One particular situation this brings me to is being a nanny for a particular child that came into my life. I was honored to be his nanny. And largely what happened is, as the years went by, I discovered that he and I resonated with each other. We mirrored each other. We had some similar emptiness in our hearts. I feel like it was an honor to be able to relate to him and try and speak back to him that he was not invisible. It was something I needed for myself as a child, and even as an adult. That young man was very important to my life because it forced me to get outside of my own anger, get outside of my own frustration with him and his behaviors. He had lots of behaviors that you just didn't want to deal with. But it forced me to look at myself and face things I didn't previously want to deal with, because I saw his hurting, and when I saw his, it helped mine to resurface and just forced some growth for myself. That young man is no longer with us. He has passed on. But I will always remember and take his legacy with me. Back to myself. I am still questioning whether or not I deserve things. I am still questioning whether or not I'm important enough. Do I carry any value? Do I have merit? Do I belong? And I've discovered that the answer is actually yes. And that in order to embody the strong and womanly, the beloved, the warrior goddess, renowned warrior, I can be a warrior for worthiness. I can be a warrior for helping others to find their sense of worth. And more importantly, I can just open myself to being worthy.
Cheryl, come here real quick. Cheryl, come here real quick. I just want to give you a hug. You are worthy. Yes. Thank you for those powerful words. Beautiful. As we continue on with the evening, next we have Cheryl's daughter. Yes. Taja Rhea Burks, with living with an invisible disability. And Taja, the floor is yours.
Spinning, round and round. Forcefully throwing myself to the ground, climbing trees, hanging upside down, longer than most people would, climbing to the tip top of refrigerators, sitting there, hearing my mother say, "Taja, get down from there." "Why, Mommy? I like it up here. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster and it's going so fast." Saying things like, "Can you please just get me a sip puckle?" Or, "I can't find the Paul Nellish, and why can't we just go to a Commanical?" would be me between ages 3 and 8. Until Mother finally took me to a specialist who helped her understand that I have an invisible disability. You see, I'm dyslexic and I have sensory integration processing disorder. Dyslexia is when I mix up what I am reading and writing. The way that my brain receives information is transferred differently when I write or even articulate. Sensory integration disorder is where all of our 5 senses would be working together. Sight, touch, hearing, taste, and smell. However, there are 2 more senses that most people are not familiar with: vestibular and proprioception. The vestibular sense is what makes me feel like I'm on a roller coaster. It is our perception of how fast we are going, or if we are sitting still. Proprioception is balance. Proprioception is clumsiness and the inability to notice the force you are receiving and giving. So growing up as a young child, playing with other kids, me thinking that I'm just tapping them, seemed to them that I was hitting them. This would bring many challenges for me throughout my years of schooling. Eventually, I would go to vision therapy, and I would have occupational therapy. Vision therapy helps me to be able to read on a straight surface, read the line straight through, or even be able to understand why my letters are supposed to look a certain way, and also help me not to have double vision or blurry vision, which is something I often get, even as an adult. Occupational therapy would help me be able to articulate my words, understand where my mouth goes, where my tongue goes in my mouth, the placement of that, and what it feels like. It would also help me understand that occupational therapy would also help me understand that I am driving too fast, or that I need an extra hug because the way you just touched me doesn't make me feel good. So, I also learned skills to help me get through life, such as maintaining memory, looking up to the left side of me oftentimes. When people are speaking to me, I look away, make a picture, highlight that so I can remember when and where and why. I also write things down in small notebooks that I keep in my purse or my pocket. All of my calendars are profusely highlighted with 6 different colors: green, orange, red, yellow, purple, and blue. Sometimes pink. Because pink means, hey, it's my free time. Green means work. Orange means homework or classwork, or going to class. This helps me maintain structure and balance because some people like me who have ADHD or dyslexia or sensory integration disorder, we are fixed people, so we need it this way and that way only. Because if it changes, it makes us very upset, which then comes out as frustrated and angry to you all. But it's just the fact that we can't cope with that. We cannot adjust, we can't go to the next step. We need to physically, consciously shift down our minds, our gears like a stick shift. This happens every day, even as I drive. Vision therapy helped me be able to perceive my perception, understand perception, knowing if someone is driving in front of me too closely, and or if I can make a turn in front of them. This is important because I have come to realize that not many people understand what an invisible disability is, and I have been advocating and standing up for myself since, for quite some time, but for the last 5 years, I openly say it to my employers, I say it to my teachers, and even sometimes if I'm misunderstanding someone, I'll tell them, you know what, I have a disability, can you please slow down so that I can understand what you're talking about? So, my mission is to bring resources to those who are not aware of the resources that I've had, such as occupational therapy and vision therapy, and plenty other therapies that there are for us. Even things like holding squishy balls, just because it feels good, and it being accepted socially, or just the fact that people understand, oh, they need that. That person needs that way. So, I work with children and adults in the DPS settings, and typically the people who come to me, who gravitate to me, are just like me. And I can tell after being around them for about the first 2 weeks, oh, that's another me. So my mission is to create a nonprofit organization that is geared to have resources and to provide resources to people who live with an invisibility like I do. There are a number of other invisible disabilities such as hard of hearing and fibromyalgia and Crohn's disease. And I feel like everyone needs to know that those things exist because I'm standing here in front of you with one.
Taja, you are necessary and you are needed. Thank you for sharing that because I'm educated. I am better from it. Living with the invisible disability, I too have one. I am hard of hearing in my left ear, and it allows, to hear you speak, it allows me to understand having compassion and understanding, to have empathy instead of being judgmental, because we don't know what someone is going through. You know, to ask if you're okay or ask if you need help instead of saying something is wrong with them. Everything is right with us. There's nothing wrong with us. We're fearfully and wonderfully made, as Cheryl said. And so thank you for educating us and sharing that as well. Next up, we have Patricia Alalua with How We Lead Matters.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. Thank you so much for coming. So, how many of us are leaders in the house tonight? Okay. It is very important for us to start by asking some critical questions. This is to enable us evaluate our performances as leaders, whether at the workplace, in our homes, or within our community. How do you lead? What type of a leader are you? What is your leadership style? Are you the autocratic leader that is the do as I say and not as I do type of leader? Or are you the bureaucratic leader who acts by regulations and policies? Or are you the charismatic leader who motivates their team members? Or are you a democratic type of leader who shares values and ideas with their team members? Or are you the servant leader who shares power and decision-making with their team members? It doesn't matter what category you fall into. At the end of it all, there is an ultimate goal and a purpose. How we lead matters. Now, where do most people go to in search of skills and knowledge about leadership? People look for it in various many places. Some people search for it in the world of politics, others in the entertainment industry. Some others search for it in the spiritual world. Some search for it in the world of business. But still, many people look up to successful CEOs, management consultants, and management consultants with PhDs to be able to learn about leadership. The thing is that people can learn about leadership anywhere and everywhere. But if you don't have those innate qualities and capabilities in you, you are just wasting your time. Because sooner than later, you will be exposed for who you are and what you are. How we lead matters. Maurice Flanagan said, and I quote, "Some people are born leaders. Some achieve leadership, and some have leadership thrust upon them." It is true, but there are leaders and there are leaders. So, whether you are a born leader, or you achieve leadership, or you have it thrust upon you, it doesn't matter. What matters to us is, how do you lead? How good of a leader are you? What motivates you? What inspires you to be a leader? That is the question that we should concern ourselves with. Because at the end of the day, how you lead matters. The Bible in Psalm 11 verse 3 says, "If the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do?" Nowadays, the righteous, they don't do anything but to pray. But praying, yes. You cannot build something on nothing. You cannot give what you don't have. Yes, you cannot give what you don't have. In any structure, there should always be a solid foundation. And if that foundation is not solid, what do we have? We have chaos, we have confusion, we have ruin, we have collapse. And that is why we are where we are today. How we lead matters. What defines you as a leader? John C. Maxwell said, and I quote, "A leader is one who knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way." Are you here today? Are you a leader who knows the way, who goes the way and shows the way? Theodore Roosevelt also said, and I quote, he said, "People ask for the difference between a leader and a boss. The leader leads, while the boss drives." Are you the kind of leader who leads? Or you are the kind of leader who drives? How you lead matters. In answering the question, what defines you as a leader? Let us quickly dissect the word leader as an acronym. The first letter is loyalty. How loyal are you to your team members? Are you the type of leader that when money changes hands, you betray your team without batting an eyelid? The next one is empathy. How well do you empathize with your team members in difficult situations and circumstances? Advancement is the next one. How well do you advance the goals, the cause, and aspiration of your team members? Diplomacy is the next one. How diplomatic are you in handling difficult situations within your team? E is the next one, and that is ethics. What kind of ethical values do you possess? You know, in our world today, some people have a different set of ethics in their personal life, some in their spiritual lives, and yet another at home. Who are you deceiving? Who are you deceiving? In order to desire a good ethical value, there should be just one set across board. No deception. So, going further, let us look at the types of followership that we have, because we cannot treat this topic in isolation. We have three types of followership. They are the totally ignorant, the partially knowledgeable, and the knowledgeable. Partially ignorant. These sets of people, they are what they are called. Ignorant sets of people. They are what I can term zombie by Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Those of us from Africa, we know that popular song. They don't know their left from their right. They only do what their leader says. Why? Ignorance. And Thomas Jefferson made us to understand that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. The next set of followers that we have are the partially knowledgeable. These sets of people, they know right from wrong. They know bad from good. However, they only deal in the line of loyalty. And then the last set of people are the knowledgeable type. These sets of people, you should fear them. They are the very dangerous type. They are educated, very well enlightened. They know right from wrong. They know good from bad. Yet, they only deal. They are what we call self-centered people. They go by the acronym WIIFM. Ask me what does that mean? What is in it for me? If there is nothing in it for them, sorry, there is no deal. Let's quickly go and dissect the elements of leadership that we have. The first one there is communication. Without a clear and concise communication skill, your followers will not understand, or they will find it difficult to understand your values, to understand your mission, and to understand your goals. The next one is know your team. How well do you know your team? Do you know their strengths and their weaknesses? Do you know what motivates them? Do you know what brings out the best in them? The next one is know yourself. How well do you know yourself? Aside from knowing your team, you need to know yourself. You need to do a SWOT analysis about yourself. The next one is seeking honest feedback. For you to be a good leader, you need to do what we call honest self-assessment through feedbacks. When you get those feedbacks, what do you do with them? Do you fly up, or do you go back to the drawing board and fix that problem? Or do you play the blame game? Let us quickly look at examples of good leaders and bad leaders. The first one is Nelson Mandela. He was a visionary leader who believed in what he stood for. Are you that kind of leader? The next person is Martin Luther King Jr. We all know his story. I have a dream that one day the valley will be made plain and the mountains will be made low. Today, as we are all seated here, we are beneficiaries of that dream. How? Because he was a selfless leader. The next person is Sheikh Al Maktoum. He transformed the tiny island of Dubai to a thriving power global house. No wonder a lot of us, we are flocking to Dubai today to go on vacation, to go on business trips. Why? Because somebody developed Dubai. How you lead matters. He said, and I quote, a president's job is to make his people happy. But I want to rephrase it in my own words. A good leader's job is to make his people happy. Examples of bad leaders. We have Idi Amin of Uganda. He was a very terrible dictator. And Idi Amin of Uganda, he was a military dictator, and well, that is what I read in my history. So the next person is Adolf Hitler of Germany. Adolf Hitler was another terrible leader. He was known to be responsible for the death of 19.3 million people during his reign of terror. In our world today, especially in Mother Africa, we need visionary leaders like Nelson Mandela. We need selfless leaders like Martin Luther King. We need prayerful and God-fearing leaders like King David in the Bible. What are we doing? Are we supposed to sit down and be watching while things continue to get out of hand? It is true that the beautiful ones are not yet born by Ayikwe Ama. But while we are waiting for the beautiful ones to be born, what are we doing in the interim? Are we just going to sit down, fold our hands, and then we continue to mourn? We continue to complain that things are not going right. It is high time that we all stood up to the occasion and be leaders. If you are a leader, lead well. If you are a follower, follow well. Because a lot of times, how we follow determines the kind of leaders that we get. It is high time for us to make a change. That change starts with you today. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Woo. She just brought the heat up a little bit. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know if you guys noticed, we're in a church right now, and she's been preaching. She has been preaching. Wow, Patricia, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we all leaders in our daily lives every day, as parents, as community members, as young professionals as well. So please, I don't know about you guys, because I wrote most of these things down, and please take notes. Because as we say, pay it forward. What is learned here is shared. So please share that. And we're almost, again, time that seatbelt, we're almost finished here. We got a couple of more. As we move forward, next in our agenda here, we have Regina Edmondson.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. I have a question. Have you ever felt unheard? Have you ever felt voiceless? In the Bible, Proverbs 31 verse 1 says, "Speak for those who can't speak for themselves." I'm Regina Edmondson, and my topic is being a voice for the voiceless. For me, there are 4 components of being a voice for others. The first is to empower, to lend voice. The second is to align your voice with others to strengthen their voice and to strengthen their message. The third is to tell the story for those that won't tell their own story or can't tell their own story. And the fourth is to advocate and be the voice for all and to be the voice for change. For me, there are a couple of pivotal moments in my life where each of these things came into play. When I was growing up in elementary school, I went to an all-white school. By all-white school, I mean I was the only student of color in my class, in my grade, in my school, and that includes all faculty and staff. So each day in class, I was a great student. I would study all the time. I would always be prepared for class. But when I got into my classroom, I would raise my hand because I wanted to answer the question. I wouldn't get called on. The next day, I would raise my hand again because I wanted to do the problem. I wanted to answer the question. I didn't get called on. Again, I raised my hand and I wouldn't get called on. There came a point where I stopped raising my hand because I felt like I don't have a voice. So I kept my hand down. I went home and I talked to my parents about it, and my dad said, use your voice. Tell your teacher that you want to participate and that you want to be heard. Use your voice. So I went back in the class, I talked to my teacher, I said, I want to be able to solve some of the problems. I want to be a part of the class. So I raised my hand for the next time. I didn't get called on. Next day, same thing, didn't get called on. Finally, later that week, I raise my hand, I get called on, I get to walk up to the board, work out the math problem, and when I'm coming back to my seat, I see my dad at the door. This is an example of empowering our kids, not only empowering them through their supporting them, but empowering them to advocate for themselves, to be the voice of themselves, to be the voice of others. The next time was when I was a young adult, 19 years old. It's the first time I had lived out of the country. I moved to Narita, which is about 30 miles outside of Chiba in Japan, about an hour train ride or bus ride from Tokyo. So after being there for several months, I wanted to go into Tokyo. I wanted to kind of sightsee and see what Tokyo was about. I had never been there before. A neighbor wrote down all of the instructions for me, how to get the bus, how to get the train, here's a place to go to. So I went, took the bus, took the train, went into Tokyo, had a wonderful time, did some sightseeing, little window shopping, had a traditional Japanese meal. It was a wonderful experience. So now it's time to come home. It's starting to get late. I'm on the train, or I get down to the train station, and I look up, and none of the signs are in English. Because going, I had everything translated on my note, here's what I need to do. Coming back, I didn't have the same information. So I'm asking people, how do I get back to Narita? How do I get back to Narita? There's a language barrier. People they could understand Narita, but they didn't know the question that I'm asking. How do I get back? I felt like I didn't have a voice. So I'm sitting there, okay, almost in tears, but I'm sitting there, and finally, so I hear English, and I hear somebody say, are you okay? Are you okay? Immediately, I was okay, because I knew somebody could hear me, they could understand me, they knew my voice. We worked together, found somebody else, got all of it written back down, how do I get back, and I made it back safely to Narita that night. That's an example of aligning your voice with others to strengthen the message, to get the end result by using your voice along with somebody else to strengthen it. The next example, on my journey to motherhood, I had a very difficult time conceiving. I had a lot of medical issues, and it was very difficult for me to get pregnant. finally, I had a doctor that wanted to do a hysterectomy because of fibroids and other women issues and all of these things. And a friend took me to their doctor and put me on a medicine where got rid of all the fibroids. I was finally able to conceive. So about 4 months into my pregnancy, I was deemed a high-risk pregnancy because of my age. So I had to have an ultrasound every 2 weeks during my pregnancy. So I go in, and my mom was with me on that visit, and they do the ultrasound, and the doctor says, everything looks great, no baby. Just that calm. And I can't hear what he's saying. I can't focus. I don't know what's going on. I couldn't speak. My mom started asking questions. What do you mean there's no baby? Last 2 weeks ago, the pregnancy is viable. What's happening? What's going on? And continue to ask these questions. After a lot of conversation back and forth with my mom and the doctor and the nurse, the doctor leaves the room. They come back in with another file. The doctor had the wrong chart. So now they do an ultrasound again. This time when they do the ultrasound, they see my baby who's sitting right there. And I'm still I'm confused. How do you see it now, but you didn't see it 5 minutes ago? And I couldn't even articulate that. I couldn't say that. I felt like I don't have a voice. This is a medical professional. My mom asked that question. And the response was, you don't see what you're not looking for. So my mom made sure from that moment on that I had the proper medical care to get through my pregnancy and to bring that child into the world. That is an example of sharing a story for someone else when they won't or can't speak for themselves is important to be the voice for other people. The last example is professionally, I'm a development consultant. And what that means is that I raise millions of dollars for nonprofit organizations. That means that I advocate for those that are unhoused. I advocate for those that are formerly incarcerated. I advocate for those that are looking for education to change the trajectory of their future and their family's future. For our entrepreneurs that are struggling to keep their businesses open. For our immigrant and refugee community who has come here and want to find their place to be successful in this country. That's how you advocate for others. You use your voice. Earlier this year, I put my name in to be the Arapahoe County Commissioner for District 4. I want to continue to advocate for every voice that needs to be empowered, for every voice that wants to align with others to strengthen the message, for every voice that cannot or will not tell their story, and to partner with every voice that wants to advocate for each of us so that all of our voices are heard. Because your voice matters, your voice matters, your voice matters. Collectively, being a voice for the voiceless is important. All of us need to be a voice for each other. Thank you.
Wow, Regina, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being the voice for the voiceless, for being our voice in the community. We need you. We're coming to a close, and our last speaker, we call President. We have Webster Koza coming up. Is Africa doomed? Take us away.
You see, sometimes when they put you last, it's like it's a setup. Because after all these great speakers, it's just amazing. And, it just makes me to think about the journey that which we had, this past 12 weeks. Is such a memorable and it's an amazing journey. I will never forget the day when Patricia was requested to come and present. And the only thing that she could speak about, it was just a goosey soup at that time. And yet, a few weeks later, during midterm, she came and she blew us away because at that time she began to manifest. I'll never forget the day when Regina, in one of our classes, in one of our sessions, she gave a presentation and the professor stood up and he criticized, her, and she immediately stood up and she rectified that and she blew us away in class and everyone was amazed. So it was a memorable 12 weeks. I'll never forget when Tanya, after so many times that she gave presentation and we were all confused as to what is it that she was talking about, what type of help that she wants to implement. And yet in 1 week she came and she manifested and we began to see that indeed public speaking has made a difference in her because her true self was unlocked. I'll never forget, the day when Shirel, when Tina and Taja today, how they manifested, looking back at how we started, surely that tells that this does definitely work. Because the way we were on day one and the way we are today, it's a different story. So we want to say thank you to African Leadership Group by that. Now, to the founder and the Executive Director of the African Leadership Group, Papaja, the leader of public speaking, Mr. Majama, invited dignitaries who are here, members of the community, and together with my colleagues. So today, I would like to say salute. Thank you so much for being here. Now, about a week ago, I met this other gentleman, and when I met this guy, just by looking at him, you can definitely see that this guy, he's from Sudan, right? And I'm like, okay, this guy is definitely from Sudan. So now as we are talking, in as much as I can see that he's from Sudan, he can obviously tell with my accent that you are also not from here. So he's foreigner against foreigner, right? But then he's the first one who asked me a question and he says, so where are you from? I say, oh, no, what? I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg, And I'm like, so where are you from? And he says, no, I'm from South Sudan. So now in response to that, I say, oh, Sudan. And he says, no, South Sudan. So then, in response to that, I'm like, but Sudan is the same. And he says, no, it's independence. It is at that moment that a question arises that is indeed Africa doomed. Because after so many times whereby we had remarkable leaders, African leaders, such as Nkwame Nkrumah, who called for the unity of Africa, who kept on emphasizing that the only way for Africa to succeed and prosper, it is through Africa becoming united and having one form of currency and one policy for land and one policy for how minerals will be distributed. But yet you still find Africa dividing even more. That's why you find Sudan splitting. You have South Sudan and Sudan. That's why you have the Ethiopians and the Eritreans. So it looks like more, instead of Africa uniting more, it is the more Africa is dividing. Is indeed Africa doomed? That after so many years that Africa was subjected to so much colonialism, whereby the Westerns and even now the Chinese are coming and they're expropriating our land and they are taking away all the minerals, and with Africa being the most richest country or the most richest continent in the world with all sorts of minerals, but yet Africa, it is still considered the most poorest country. Imagine a country that has so much gold, diamonds and platinums, and yet it is still the continent that still deserves donation from the world. Is Africa doomed that with all its resources that today Africa, it is still considered to be poor? Could it be that Africans are children of a lesser God? That Africans should be subjected to so much racism? That you go to China, that even after when COVID had started in Wuhan, whereby there's a less number of African people, but yet when the problem started, they decided to blame it on Africans, and they said, you black people are the ones who brought this COVID here, and they decided to criticize them. Could it be that it is because we are children of a lesser God that will be criticized so much that you go to Europe, how Africans are suffering from racism, how Africans, they do not have a voice? Could it be that is Africa doomed indeed? That even some, they decide to say, you know what, we went to the Chinese and the Chinese are criticizing us. We went to the West and the West are criticizing us. Rather, let us stay here in Africa and try our luck in South Africa because maybe the economy is doing very much better. But yet when Africans, when they get to South Africa, a country which is full of Africans, they still are subjected to xenophobic attacks, where they are even killed even more by their own people. Is Africa indeed doomed? That, if I would remember that even with me being an African immigrant, the first person who ever told me that I should go back to my country was an African. In fact, the guy was even darker than me. Could it be that Africa is doomed. That after so much struggle, after so much persecution, that which we've received, that even today we are still standing and we are still fighting for our own freedom. But let me tell you something, there is hope. You see, we are not children of a lesser God. Can I make an illustration about something? You know, so somebody gave me a euro, and I also have a Canadian dollar here. Now, my sister, this is a Canadian dollar, right? Do you want it? It's money at the end of the day. You're going to let me have it? Who wants money? You want money? Come here, my sister. Okay. She wants only US, right? So you want this money, right? Oh, you want the bigger one. The euro. The euro is the bigger one. So this one, when you change it, you get more. So you want it? Okay. Do you still want it? In fact, it's rubbish. So even after I've done all these things, you still want this money? Why? Because even after everything that it has went through, it has not changed its value. Now, even after all the persecution that happened in Africa, Africa will still remain strong. You know, when Robert Mugabe, when he spoke, you know, after Robert Mugabe, after he expropriated the land without compensation in Zimbabwe, and they placed hard sanctions on Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, he said something that which was so remarkable. You know, I may have so many differences with him, but I will never forget his statement. And what he said, they may place sanctions on Zimbabwe. We are not shaken by these sanctions. Because the only thing that sanctions means, it means that we are no longer allowed to sell what we have. It doesn't mean that we no longer have what we have, but we are only stopped for a specific time from selling what we have. Meaning that the diamond in Zimbabwe still remains there. Wait until sanctions are lifted and Zimbabwe's economy will bloom away. So now, even though Africa, we have been subjected to all of this, I say manifest, African child, because your time it is now. That's why we have organizations such as the African Leadership Group, which it is meant to empower us as African people, because the world is waiting for us. Let me tell you something, we do not need pity, we do not need the world to have sympathy on us, as if we are not nothing. Let me tell you something, like the same way how Apostle Paul, how he spoke, he said, oh, what shall we say to all these things? He said, we are more than conquerors. So despite everything that we're subjected to, we are African. Real men are black, by the way. So we are strong and will remain strong and will remain successful. Thank you so much.
I need everybody to stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Wow, just a round of applause for these amazing individuals tonight that are joining us, that we are celebrating this evening. Woo! I'm catching my breath right now. You took me on a journey. You guys all took me on a journey. And just to see where you guys started, I remember the first day just asking you guys, why are you taking the public speaking class? And today is the results of that. You guys went through a journey and endured it together. We started with about 30-something. And we finished with 12. Unfortunately, a couple of them couldn't join us this evening. But you amazing 8 and 9, and folks joining us across the world on Facebook Live, thank you all for being here today. And I'm ecstatic right now because I've been a sponge this past 2 hours. And I don't know if you guys, I've been just soaking everything that's been said. Because it's been well said, beautifully said, and takes me back to last week. Because I remember when Justina came here, and she was practicing, and she could barely go through half her paragraph and what you delivered here tonight, somebody's gonna go home and gonna think about forgiveness and forgiving somebody or forgiving themselves. And Taja, you just educated a generation that did not know about some of these disabilities. Because I've been sitting here, I did not know about it till you spoke tonight. And somebody might be sitting here that's been taking notes and you helped that person. And you paid that forward this evening. And wow, Tanya. I remember when Tanya first came, she needed notes, she was shaking, she didn't want to speak. And to hear that powerful story today that you shared with all of us of overcoming survival, the pain you endured for you to be standing and now being an advocate, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Effie, the energy that you brought. Wow. You kicked us off. You've been amazing. And your daughter, I don't know where Brianna is. She's going to get a certificate. She graduated. She comes here every week, participates, and just powerful. And you set the tone and just thank you. Cheryl, woo! Wow, wow, wow. Your story, you are worthy. You fit your name, and you are the definition of your name. Yes. And you spoke that, and we are proud of you. And Patricia, woo! If you haven't yet, she brought the food today. Y'all gotta try. I remember her first time speaking. She came, she was like, Professor, I don't know what to talk about. Professor said, what do you like? She said, I cook something. And she spoke about her food. And the next thing, the midterm, she blew us out the park. She came in and had all of us on our seats. And your voice commands the room. And you're a powerful woman and you're a powerful leader. You are a leader in our community. Mr. President, African youth that are here joining us tonight, or youth across, we need you in this fight. And for Africa to become what it's supposed to be, we need the next generation to lift and listen to this voice. Because you are the feature. As we always say, Africa's the feature running in reverse. But with you guys, we are powerful, and we are the next nation. I don't know if you guys don't know, we're the youngest, we have the youngest population in the world. And we are not doomed. We have everything. We're gold right now, and you got to shine it a little bit that's coming out. And Ken, I know you're joining us from Facebook. Your dedication, coming every evening. He be at work. I remember one time he was at a dentist appointment. This man was live from a dentist appointment. And your positive attitude and just giving us them gems and motivating us and encouraging us. And it's just really beautiful. And I can't thank this class, because you guys are joining the fraternity now. It's a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a family. And as we say here, what is said here stays, but what is learned here leaves. So we pay it forward. And I want each one of you guys that are here, you guys heard something today. Share that. Share that with somebody tomorrow. Share about forgiveness. Share about worthiness. Share about how to lead. And just please pay it forward. And all of you guys, I want you guys, because this would not be possible without one man. And that is our professor. He's been along this journey for 11 cohorts. 11 cohorts. And I could call anybody or any alumni. And then I said, Professor says, and yes, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. Thank you. And it's just a testament of the man you are and the service you provided. And as I believe Muhammad Ali said this, service is the rent you pay on living here on earth. And your service has been paid. And you've been impacted so many. As Papa mentioned, over 300 graduates of this class. And that's just powerful. And they come in and they call you and you answer. And you're that community voice. And we appreciate you, Professor. And I know, alumni, raise your hand in here. I know we have multiple alumni. You guys are part of that alumni. I don't know if we're the best class yet. I'll give it to Professor. And also thank you to Tanisha. She's been around here for the past 2 years from Zoom and helping out and just managing. And she always brings that gems and always just that positive attitude and just sharing the knowledge with all of us. And I'd like to just welcome Professor for closing remarks. And please stay for the certificates and awards. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Uzi. I believe my job is done because if you heard Uzi, who is from Cohort 4, be able to do the summary the way he did it, but also speak now for the community. I think what we were supposed to do has been done. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart for coming and celebrating our graduates. This means a lot to us. And we cannot wait to welcome you in the class as well. Because let me tell you something. You might think that you know how to speak. You might think that this is very easy, but believe me, it is not. I know because I've been around these people since 2016, going to our 12 cohorts now. When they walk in the class, you might look at some and say, I know she doesn't need it, he doesn't need it, they don't need it. But at the end of the day, you will see that everybody came for a different reason. I was amazed in this class by Regina, because I'm saying she's a professional who does a lot of things elsewhere, empowering people already. What could she possibly see in somebody's like us to learn something from us? But yet, if we were giving perfect attendance, I think she might be one of the people who would have it. And the way she can take criticism and just apply it right away blew my mind. You will tell her, well, when you were speaking, you were standing still. The next time she would come and own the stage in a way that you were like, how could she apply what I just said? You know, I've been really taught something by a young lady that I was very judgmental of, I have to admit. Because most of the time I will talk to her, she always want to have the last word. And I said, young lady, that doesn't work that way. Until the last rehearsal that we did here. And I learned that she's going through a disability. That's the reason why we gave her that topic, working with invisible disabilities. So her ways of always questioning me or always like wanting to ask more was not to have the last question, but it was her own way of understanding, which I completely missed throughout the 12 weeks we were together until that day. And that young lady, you already know her, she blew all of us away tonight because she's an actor as well. You know, what was really powerful is that when she came, I didn't know what she was talking about. She was like, she was acting something. She was acting a part. But that was how powerful the education that she was imparting on everyone in attendance tonight. I mean, I think what I wanted to do was, Uzi already did it, was to, you know, mention every speak because I can talk about it. Tanya, when she came, you wouldn't even like, Tanya would really turn around because she would not want me to ask her to speak. And some days she would say, why are you picking on me? I said, that's my job to pick on you. That's what I do. You know, if you don't like it, still come. I said, don't come, no. You still come and I will still do it. But what she did tonight, because the problem was she was not able to share her story in a very honest way, which we all should do. Because our stories are the ladders through which we will go on to our successes. So we have to understand that. We should not be ashamed of anything that we went through, because at the end of the day, we are still standing. It doesn't matter whether it is jail, it doesn't matter what, it is the hospital, it is whatever you might go through. Know that somebody went through it and they're still standing. They're still doing their things. So what we have as a community, because we have a platform where we can come together, understand each other, talk to each other, and help each other. Because to me, that's what matters. Papa didn't set up ALG to boost his ego. I've been around, I saw what he was doing. You know, for the most part, I thought this boy was crazy. You know, to be honest, that's how it started. Because to me, we were not even able to get the Senegalese people together. And this man wanted to get the Africans together. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I was writing about this because every event that we had, Papa would always tell you we had 50 people in attendance, 200 people in attendance. And was I at the same event? Because to me, I didn't even see like 15. But I understood what he was talking about in 2019. When we had this event, or when we had African Impact, which is about to come at the Gaylord, I turned around and there were over 1,000 people in the room. I said, this is what vision looks like. And by vision, I do not mean your eyesight. Because your eye will tell you things as they are. I can see Velva sitting right here. But your vision will tell you how things could be. When I was just looking at the number of people, the 15, the 20 in attendance, Papa was already seeing the thousands of people who will come to join us. If you came to the cultural day last year at the Levitt Center, you would be blown away by how many people were there attending because we called African Impact. This guy worked so hard that the governor made a proclamation almost like 3 years now and repeating it every year for August to be the African Immigrant Month. So then I believe if we can stand here and say anything, we just need to give some credit where it is due. Were it not for his vision, were it not for his commitment, I wouldn't be standing right here today, even though he gives me a lot of hard times. But I'll pay you back one day. Yes, sir. Oh, absolutely. This brother right here is one of us. And by that, I just don't mean a community member. He believed in it in the very first days. Because I've been seeing him around so long that it looks like we are from the same mother. You know, the first day I turned around and I saw him at the mosque, I was like, wow, who is he? Everywhere I go, Omar is around. And he's just not around just to be around, but he's around to empower people. One day he said something that I will always remember and I will always try to live by. He said, success is not just being there by yourself, but it is uplifting people along the way. So to me, that's what we actually need to do every single day. So brother, thank you so very much for being who you are. Sure.
First, this is personal to me because, you know, Regina is my life. And my son is here, so this is extremely personal. But at the same time, my brother, you're gonna be president somewhere someday. And to my sister, who taught us about invisible disabilities. See, everything that was taught to us today was about being a bridge builder. And what do I mean? For those who understand the point, my fraternity brother in the back who understands this concept of being a bridge builder means that the bridge has to start, but doesn't mean it has to end. I'm going to repeat that. The bridge doesn't have to end, and at times it's going to have to be repaired. At times it's going to, you're going to ask, is it sturdy? But if we're all on that bridge together, it will have a strong, solid foundation so that we all can prosper. Papa Dia has built this bridge. Professor has built this bridge. ALG has built this bridge that has brought, as it says up here, a beloved community together. It's Africans and African Americans showing what is the best of us when everyone else is still trying to figure out how to bring us down. Thousands of people are watching the best of us right now. And even on the continent, although they want to say things about it, their nourishment, their milk, their medicine, everything comes from the continent. The economics came from the continent. Their medicine came from the continent. Their religion came from the continent. And we as African Americans couldn't have been resilient without our African heritage. So as I close, I say thank you to this partnership, to this relationship. Let me just say what it is. To us bridging our family back together again. Thank you.
Awesome. I know you guys are waiting for the certificates and the ceremony. Give me a second here. I got to run through a few upcoming ALG events that you are all invited to. So starting this Saturday, back in this room this Saturday, we have the homeowners workshop. We have experts in the home buying process. We have realtors. We have bankers, and we also have people that can help you with your credit. If you're interested in buying or selling a home, also flipping, fixing, just come and talk to some of our realtors and our bankers as well as some of our credit experts. I know a lot of our times we stop from buying our house, we have these issues, or we think about our credit, we have real experts in the credit industry that can help us fix our credit as well. That is happening this Saturday. That's from 4 to 6 p.m. here at the ALG office. Woo! And also, I'm excited to announce, I don't know if you guys seen it yet or visited our website, African Impact is coming this August. So if you haven't got the booklet, check out the booklets. All our events are coming. So in 2019, as Professor mentioned, in front of those thousands of people, Governor Polis came out and let the people know that August is African Heritage Month. And just celebrating the impacts that Africans had in this community. From Aurora to Denver to Colorado Springs, Fort Collins. Come check out some of the events that we have. And we have the annual gala happening again. Bring out that dress that you've been having in the closet, that suit you've been waiting to wear. The red carpet's going to be rolled out, so get ready. Take us out. Visit our website at uslg.org. Awesome. And before I even go forward, somebody mentioned to me, I forgot Regina. I'm like, no, I did not forget Regina. I was going to wait for this moment when everybody is sitting here and listening and paying attention, because she is running a campaign right now. She is going to be the voice for the voiceless. And I need all of us to come out and support her. You don't have to live in Arapahoe to come support her. You can live in Denver, come help out, knocking doors, doing phone calls. Because she is the voice that we need. I don't know if you heard her today. Her story is so powerful. And as we always say, we want our community voice. When our community's winning, we got to turn out. We have to show up. And to show up, we have to support. And Regina, you've been amazing this year. And you thought of so many different things. And for me, I'm just learning from you. And I've been around already putting those flyers out, and I'm just excited. And we're going to get to the finish line, and we're going to celebrate you again. And that is the winning line. Awesome. And I want to turn it over to Tanisha to do the certificates.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end. And we're going to start giving out the certificates. So first up to receive your certificate for completing the public speaking class for Cohort 11 is Regina Edmondson. Thank you, Regina. Thank you. Next up, we have Cheryl Rhea. Next is Taja Rhea Burks. She's so cute. Thank you. Next up is Tanya Carter.
So, Professor, you used to make me so nervous. But when I walk away from here, and I'm going to continue on, but I want to say to you that you empowered me, bruh. You have no idea. But the one thing that you told me early on about fear, you told me that fear stood for a false evidence appearing real. So I started applying that to my life. So things that made me uncomfortable, you came in my mind. I was like, this ain't real. This ain't real. And I can get through this, so I thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have Mr. President Webster Koza. It's not doing it. We have the wonderful Effie Isiaku. Next, we have Justina Simbo.
Like 3 years ago, this kid was running for graduation.
What?
3 years ago.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Wait, we gotta get you one. Look, you want another one? I'm gonna get you one. You graduated too. And then we have Patricia Alalua.
How many is my congratulations. Thank you so much.
And then Kenneth Allen received his already because he's out of state. Thank you, Ken. All right, that ends the ceremony.
Get everybody up here for a picture. Thank you all for joining us this evening Cohort 11. You guys are alumni now. Welcome to
Leadership 101.
So for all the alumni, we just want to make the announcement that remember, after you are done, you will be joining us with Leadership 101. So we'll send the information about it there. It will be cohort 10 and 11 combined, Leadership 101. It will be starting soon. Thank you so much. You guys want to say something? Yeah. What do you want to say?